Hello, friends, and welcome to today's episode. I'm Kat, and with me is my beautiful friend and partner in crime,
Amy. Hey!
Woo woo. Today, we are diving into some deep spiritual warfare. The constant battle between who we are, who we want to be, and the forces that determine to keep us stuck. We live in two worlds, the one that we see and the one that we feel. And let's be honest, it's tempting to just go with whatever feels good in the moment. Food, sex, alcohol, shopping, doom scrolling, getting into pointless political fights on Facebook, whatever numbs the discomfort. But is that really living? What if, just hear me out, what if you don't have to carry that weight? The shame, the anxiety, the feeling that you're somehow broken or unworthy. What if there's another way? A way that doesn't require hiding parts of yourself or constantly fighting against your own desire. A way that actually brings peace. I've caught glimpses of it. I'm chasing it. And today we're unpacking what it looks like. We're going to talk about our healing journey, the progress, the setbacks, and the unexpected breakthroughs. We dig into the triggers that can pull us off course and the self-care tools to help us stay grounded. And since healing doesn't happen in isolation, Amy and I are going to turn the tables on each other. I'm interviewing her and she'll be interviewing me. No scripts, no filter, just real talk. So buckle up, because today's episode is about the fight for freedom, spirituality, emotional and mental. Let's go. All right. So we're going to do this a little bit of an interview style, which is basically kind of our format anyway. Yeah. And I got a list of questions here, and Amy, please feel free to throw these questions right back at me if you want.
Oh, you got it.
So Amy, let's start here. What was your first wake-up call that made you realize that you were in battle for your own peace?
Wow. So I know you sent me these questions today, but I haven't even read over them. So
that's okay. This is even better.
Oh, okay.
This is awesome.
Read the question one more time just so I can process it.
Of course. What was your first wake-up call that made you realize you were in the battle for your own peace?
I feel like I didn't even really know that I was, I guess, being tormented in a sense. I've always had stress. And I feel like if I didn't have stress, something was wrong with me. I would always say my stress has stress, you know. And I feel like if I didn't have stress, like there was something wrong. And it became normal. Like it was just normal for me. And I just ran through life for so long, most of my life, with this stress. And probably almost 6 months ago, when I went into the recovery program, I joined Celebrate Recovery, which is a Bible-based program. I'm not affiliated with it, but I have been a part of it, and it has helped me in my recovery. So I would say if anybody has any kind of programs near them and you're struggling with any kind of hurts, habits, or hang-ups, it will not hurt you by any means to get connected with other people who are also struggling, because honestly, we are all overcoming and struggling from something in our past. So I actually went trying to fix my husband. So it just got to I think all of my stuff just got to a place to where it was like, I'm just tired. Like I just got exhausted mentally. Like I'm tired of trying to make everyone happy. I was tired of trying to fix everyone. And I felt like I was in a hamster wheel of life. And I was just going nowhere, but exhausted from running at the same sense. Yeah. And so I realized once I went into this program to try to figure out, like, I don't understand maybe what my husband's going through and how can I fix him? And when I got there, I realized, hey, I need help. I need fixed myself. And the more I got into that, I realized, oh, that was my codependency is what took me there. And then I realized, like, what peace what the peace looked like. I had already experienced it probably within the past year. Within my family, we had some circumstances that happened, and where when people walk away from things that should have killed them almost untouched, it's like God was there. And if you've ever had a life situation where you've been able to walk away from something and just know like God's hand was in it, it just definitely makes you a little bit, or made me a little bit more grateful and a little bit more aware, like God was in that. And I just needed to have more peaceful moments in my life because I was just so exhausted from, I guess, doing things my way and not getting any kind of relief as far as peace goes. So, I think my whole entire life was just everything stacked up and stacked up and stacked up. At some point, just became like this insanity on the wheel that and I was like, I've got to get off of this wheel. I just can't keep going like this any longer. And I think for me, it was my marriage last year when I was like, I cannot keep doing this. Been married for 30 years. That's a long time to invest my life into somebody else who I didn't feel was fighting for the things that I was fighting for. And so I feel like maybe that's when I really started seeking peace in my life because other people couldn't give it to me. And I realized that. So even though I've wanted peace my entire life, because who doesn't want peace?
Right.
I really didn't have an understanding of what peace looked like or how to get it probably until about a year ago.
Yeah, they don't tell you how to do it or how to achieve it.
Yeah.
Or they do, but
yeah,
it's really hard.
And I think it looks different for everybody too. Like we just have to figure out like what that peace looks like for us. And I'll let you answer that question too. But I also know like you had peace with yoga, you know, like
and meditation.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
I've just recently started doing that hardcore here. So it's probably 4 or 5 times a day I'll do that. So I'll just lay down and do the breathing exercise. But yeah, that has definitely been a saving grace for me. You know, when the thoughts get racing, and they get to going and they get out of control and you just can't pull it back the brains, you know. You can go down some dark avenues really quick and alone, and that's not a safe place to be. But I know that if I can just remember and dig in my tool belt and say, okay, lay flat on your back, close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let's focus on the breathing. And what it does is it takes you right out of your brain and takes you right into yourself, into your body. And then it lets go of all that. And the longer that you stay in it, the more it releases. And then you open your eyes and you're fine again. And it's amazing that something so simple that is ready for you right there can help you. You don't need to be, you know, any expensive, like, tricks or anything like that.
You don't have to go to like a spa
or anything like that. You can just find a quiet place in your closet or somewhere outside on a nice day, and even just like listening to the leaves and all the sounds that you can hear, like tuning into your senses, that can just stop the worry and the anxiety. Sorry, I didn't mean to take that from you.
It was your turn. I've been so close to you. So,
but what I realized that when I knew I needed to change, that my life wasn't working for me anymore, I always had a feeling inside of me that to move. And always to move forward and advancing. And I would always ask like my mother or my husband, and I'd be like, do you have this feeling like you're going somewhere? Because I feel that. I feel like I'm going somewhere. Like there's something bigger. I don't know what it is. And I don't know if it's just a mindset or something that was told to me when I was little, but it's in me and I feel it. And I feel like I was getting stuck. And I couldn't move forward. and just constantly filling myself with doubt and shame day after day. I realized that there had to be a change. And for me was, of course, I had a really bad episode with alcohol. And I said, this is it. It's now or never. It's time. You are 49 years old and, you're an adult, but you're still a child. And I think that that's when I started pursuing my journey for better healing, for more answers. There had to be something more to life than just this. And now I feel it.
So the interesting things that I just heard us both say, addiction, yours was your own, mine was Eric's, got us there. And the second thing was we felt stuck. Like I was in a hamster wheel going nowhere, like the insanity.
Yeah.
And you felt like you kind of outgrew your space. It sounds like you were like, there's more. It's almost like how you put a plant in a pot and it's root bound and it can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And at some point the plant will die.
And it just,
if there's no place for it to, so I love that.
I just feel like inside your mind and your body, you always had this ideal place of where you wanted to be in your life. And I feel like once you get on the path, I think it just starts evolving into that. Because even though, like, I started this journey a couple years ago, it just naturally happens. Like, oh, how am I going to tell my kids, I told my kids I love them, but really look them in the eye and have heartfelt conversations and really have the feels with them. But now it's like a natural thing. It doesn't feel uncomfortable because that kind of stuff never happened when you're, you don't get taught it, or if you come from a family it's not taught to you, then it's kind of hard to deal with. But so I just realized that I needed to do something different. I wanted to be a better mom and a better wife, but also I wanted to be just a better human being. And that's when October 2nd was the day.
Well, that's a day that I can remember because that was Eric's mother's birthday, and it was also one of my best friend's birthday. She has passed away, but her name was Wendy White, and that was her birthday. And so I've always, every year, even since she's passed away, I always think of her on that day. So that's a special day.
That's all tied together now.
It's a special day. Okay, what was the next question?
All right, the next question. I thought that was really good.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, we could just talk and talk forever.
I know it. Okay. What's one unhealthy coping mechanism you've had to let go of? Okay, so, we all have unhealthy habits.
Yeah.
And, sometimes for me, unhealthy would be, turning to a glass of wine or, attention seeking. Those things would always try to is that?
Yeah.
It's kind of, distract you but not putting you forward. It kind of gives you a new obsession or something else to worry about instead of advancing forward. So that was my coping mechanism.
I think I didn't realize this until I started growing into my spiritual walk. I used to seek not necessarily compliments, but I would put myself down so that someone else would pull me up. I'm not smart enough. And then somebody would say,
but you knew you were
smart.
Oh, you did that just to get
maybe I think just not intentionally.
Yeah.
But just where you said attention seeking.
Yes.
Just sometimes I think I would put myself down just so that maybe someone else would boost me up. I don't even know if that makes sense. If that makes sense, because I feel like maybe where I didn't feel loved, maybe that I was seeking it from other people in different ways, and just to get a compliment, maybe if it wasn't just freely given, I might seek or search for it in an underhanded way.
Yeah.
And so I've learned now, like, I don't have to do that. I don't need to do that, because I am what God says I am. And it doesn't really matter what other people think of me anymore. I mean, I want to be a good person and a good human. And if I'm doing that, then that pleases God. So if somebody else is mad, but my motives, my intention, and my heart is in the right place, then I don't want to come off right now as sounding like I have a bad attitude. But I'm just saying, if I didn't try to hurt you intentionally, and you are hurt, but you don't let me know about it to where I can try to make it right, I'm not losing sleep over that at night, because in my day-to-day, I didn't do anything, intentionally wrong. My motives were good. Yeah. So instead of like people approving, that's really people pleasing has been one of my hardest things, I think, because I just have always feared, like, what if they're mad at me? But I think it's where I grew up in such abuse. Like, I was always afraid to be who I was. I don't even know. Sometimes maybe I still struggle with who am I, because I was never really given an opportunity to be who I was or to shine. And so if I thought anybody was upset with me, it would really just bother me really bad. And so I'm not saying that I don't hold a weight on upsetting people, because I do. That's not what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But I'm not pondering that or letting that steal my joy in life. Like, I can pray at night, like, God, reveal to me if I've done or said anything wrong, if there's areas I need to work on. And I welcome that criticism, from God. But if it's other people and I just am not checking off their boxes, then I'm okay with that, because I don't live for their approval. I live for God's approval now.
That's perfect. That's just like, it's kind of like you just letting go.
Yeah.
You have to, because if not, you just make yourself crazy, because you don't even know if they're even thinking what you're thinking at all. Mm-hmm. And you're right, as long as you're being good and you're doing it, for God. And I think that you don't have anything to worry about,
Well, they say opinions are like buttholes, and everyone has one, and most of them stink. I mean, I think all of them probably stink, but but you got the stinky butthole opinions.
The stinky butthole. Yeah, everybody's got.
Everyone's got a stinky butthole.
So the follow-up question that I want to ask you, now that you're healing, recognize that in yourself. When you recognize it in other people, how does that make you feel towards them?
When I recognize that they
are a people pleaser,
I try not to be. I can be a little bit. I don't know what the right word is. Maybe brash. Have you heard of that? The word being used, brash.
Yeah.
Some people might call it opinionated. Bossy. Like, I tend to be also on the flip side of that. I've heard people call it bold, but I tend to I'm learning to try to respond and not react.
Yeah.
So I can process things and not just say the things, because I realize, like, I am one that's I'm kind of quick, and my wit is not always well received.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I just want to tell people, oh, you're codependent, and it's like,
it's like so easy to tell people, like, I know what your problem is.
But I have to feel like, whoa, pull back on those reacts a little bit, and so, yeah, I had a lady that's opened up to me today, and she shared a lot of her stuff. And I was at a thrift store, and she was telling me that she has a problem with hoarding, like, and she was being very serious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to get help.
So easy. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Check. Go get help.
Yes, I'm like, there's a program for you. Instead of me, but I'm like, you're probably buying things to help cover up some hurts in your life, And of course she's like, yes. And then I'm like, well, you need to go get some help. so, I didn't put my opinion in there, and I stepped back, but I did, after I left, I was probably like, Maybe I could have been a little bit more understanding in that because I didn't really leave her a whole lot of room because she might have wanted to open up that door and talk about those things. And I have to remember, like, Jesus stopped and he made time. Like, Jesus was busy.
Yeah.
He was like the rock star about the store online. He was like the rock star at his time. So I was thinking this morning about like how famous people, they send other people out to do their task and their things because they don't want to get, bombarded or stopped by all the people. And it says Jesus had like thousands of followers, like everywhere he went, there was people with him too. But he always, like, he stopped if there was a need, like he would stop. He stopped for healing. He stopped to listen. And so I'm trying to be more like Jesus and make space and time to listen to other people and not see it as an inconvenience to my schedule, because even Jesus made time to stop and hear other people talk. And through that, it allows space for us to witness to those people. So I might have missed an opportunity today, by just telling her she needs to go find a program.
I know. And so it gets like, well, wait a minute, because you see yourself in them and then you're like, okay, slow down a minute. Yeah, I get that. Mechanism. Yeah, like I said, like for me, unhealthy for me was always, I started doing drugs at an early age. Also, I would love to get the attention from boys, just because it would boost my confidence for me. I mean, wasn't really saying much, but let's see, what are other coping mechanisms? I think those were my two big hang up ones. But we know that is not healthy. And like I said, probably a previous podcast was that, I wanted to test out and see if God was listening to me. And that one day I did an honest prayer and I said, please take away my self-seeking and self-centeredness. And I prayed it with such conviction and like just felt it with everything, because I knew that wasn't the answer, looking like trying to get attention from other people or just the vanity that came along with it. And I was getting tired of it. It just seemed very vain to be that person. And so I said, I'm going to let it go. And that was my test to God. And I prayed to him. And you know what happened? What happened? He did it. It didn't seem appetizing anymore. It just seemed kind of sickening.
Yeah.
And then that's when I started realizing, okay, there's power here.
Mm-hmm.
But that was only the beginning. So it took a while. And I probably had all the sins and because I go from self-seeking, I go from being bitter to being jealous, to being sneaky. I mean, these are all the traits that were taught and embedded in me growing up to, a family that was always on the run. So it was so easy for me to just pull from all these negative places to help me get by. It was coping.
Yeah.
And that's how I survived. And I was like, that's not the way no more.
Well, you just reminded me that one of my things that I didn't even mention, I just kind of mentioned it about Jesus being busy, but mine has been busyness.
Yes.
I was so busy doing so many things so that my mind didn't have to stop and think about things.
That exhausts me, though.
Yes. And I exhaust everybody. Everybody's like, I'm just tired looking at you, Eric. He's like, I just can't even, because I hardly ever sit down.
I don't mean to be alive, but you are busy.
I am busy. And so I was just busy thinking I was busy doing things that were good, and not that they were not good, but I realized that it was busy to occupy myself from my thoughts and from, the things that needed my attention to heal and get healthy with.
Mm-hmm.
And instead it was like, I'll just do 100,000 things. And then I'll be so exhausted by the end of the day, I can just fall asleep. Now I am a higher wired functioning person.
Okay. Because I was going to say, you're busy already, but I know that you're serving and you're helping people and you're reaching out to the community, which is fantastic.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like we all have like our gifts, you know, and we're all kind of wired differently. But I am working on the being still part and the meditation part, which you talked about. And I do carve out time now for that. And it does really help me. I'm working at fear, and we can talk about that like at some time too. But I've realized like fear is something that I didn't really realize like that I am still dealing with some fearful things in my life. And so the meditation has helped me open my eyes to see that there's still room for growth and healing within some fear areas that I'm working on. But busyness for me is, and it's also, I love to do things that get results. So I love to garden, because I'm reaping and sowing.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful.
And if you're baking bread, you know, like it's a process, and I love those things. But I've realized like there's a time to be busy, and it's like, am I busy for God? Like, and am I actually impacting and helping better His kingdom, or am I just God busy?
Is it sometimes being busy for God would be maybe just slowing down for yourself and doing the activities of baking the bread or working in your garden? That way you have that.
So I think God busy is like, I'm just doing all these things to where I'm checking off all these boxes, but the growth, like that root isn't really there, you know, like you're just doing the things. It's like you're checking off the boxes. But when we're busy for God, like that's when we're having a relationship with Him, and we're actually impacting others, and we're impacting because we're able to grow His kingdom by adding, you know, because anytime we can go out there and get someone else and say, hey, look, this is what Jesus has to offer you. Like, He can give you salvation. He can give you forgiveness. He can give you freedom. He can give you peace. And when they accept that gift, like that's an increase to His kingdom. And so I realized like before I was just busy doing God stuff, you know, and it looked good on paper. But now I realize that it's quality over quantity. And if I can just impact like maybe one life today, like do, you know, something so good today. And there's still room for growth. Like I'm growing, like I just said earlier, I just realized like, as I was sharing like the lady at the thrift store, I could have really stopped and let her, you know, talk to me. And I you know, there's still room for improvements. And so, as to where it was, like maybe I prayed like, God, let me do something good for someone today. And I feel like maybe I had already checked that box off. And then I was like, oh, I'm good. You know, like you go get help. I've already checked my box off today. So, you know, we can't be that way. We still have to make room for Him. So yeah, I thought that was really good.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to ask me, reaching out and doing God's work, and you're saying quality over quantity, I mean, you're rubbing off on me because I stepped out of my comfort zone today, because if you would have said 10 years ago that I would be going up to my friends and praying for them, I would be like, nope. That makes me feel weird.
I would have done that 10 years ago.
It makes me feel weird. Oh, not even a year ago, actually. Yeah. I want to think about it, because it just makes me feel like I'm stepping across a boundary. But no, not anymore. I feel like different about it now. You encouraged me to step out. I always wanted to do that, but I just, you know, and so I want to thank you for that, but also because, I mean, who doesn't want a prayer?
It reminds me of the, is it called foot in the sand prints? What is that? The sand prints?
Yeah. Foots in the sand?
Yeah, foot Footprints in the sand.
Not a hip in the dirt.
No, footsteps in the sand. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, that's that one where everybody's got the picture.
Yeah, like that's what that just reminded me of. Like, you took one step deeper today. Like, that's one step deep, like closer into those oceans where they carry us into that deepness where, like, it's that faith. Isn't it scary? I mean, that's a big, and just to be able to say that I inspired you to do that, that is, it's beautiful. And I thank you for sharing that with me. I know yesterday we were kind of talking about spiritual warfare, and it's, I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. And so I'm not one to like quote scripture. I'm doing good to remember what my schedule holds for me from day to day. So memorizing scripture has not been something that I've been great at. It is something I'm praying for. I would love to be able to like quote scripture to other people when they're like, I'm like suffering from this, or I need help in that. And then that way I can back it up with some scripture. But yesterday, Kat and I were kind of talking, and when one of us is having a hard day, it was just a good reminder that we have this spiritual warfare that's constantly happening in our lives around us. And if you're not a Christian, we're not by any means trying to push our beliefs on to you. But it's like Kat said at the beginning, these are just things that have impacted our lives, and they help us in our recovery. And there's like this, God is always ever present here, good, but then there's also the enemy that's here trying to attack. And I've been like on the verge of that step where you said you like took that step over. And I feel like I've constantly had like for years a step more over into Satan's territory, and allowing him. I know we say like the devil, we give him too much credit, because he can only do what we allow him to do, right? So I haven't always plugged into the power that's been within me to fight those things. And so I think once we realize like how much power we have and control and tap into that through reading our Bibles, through meditating, through prayer. I call it my bubble. Yeah, I call it my Jesus bubble. So I'm trying to live within this Jesus bubble, and the thicker, like the wall that I can put around me is almost like a fence. And I like to think of it almost like a wall. So it's like layers and layers around, but I like to say a bubble because it's all around me versus a wall is from the bottom up. Yeah. Like I need to be completely covered. And the Bible says that we are covered in the blood. And so like all of me needs to be covered, right? That's
what I was visioning. Drenched in it.
Yes, just drenched in it. So I have this bubble. And so my prayer call, people, I do a prayer call Monday through Friday with some ladies, and they help every time I feel like we come together and we pray together, that adds a layer of protection around my bubble.
Let me just tell you for the record, I had my first prayer call last night, and I was like, I didn't think much of it, but after it was done, I mean, I felt so good. I was in tears. I felt loved. I felt heard. And I felt that it was going to be okay. So that prayer call was life-changing for me last night.
Wow.
So anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I just wanted to let people know that the prayer call is really, it's a good thing. I think I might want to be part of that someday.
We will add you to it. You just let me know. So with that, I'm saying like, make sure that you have a community. Like, make sure you have people in your life that are adding to your bubble, Jesus bubble.
Absolutely.
Because what happens is sometimes we do fall, I think it's in Psalms 91, it says like where we might stumble and hit a rock. And so when we stumble, our foot hits that rock. You have to think like if we hit or stomp my toe on something, what happens? I naturally bend down to grab that toe, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of lose balance of myself and I'm not standing as firm. I feel like that's how Satan does sometimes. Like he comes at us And it's not that I lost my focus on Jesus, but I did take my eyes off of him for a minute to concentrate on that hurt. And that's kind of what I feel like addiction is. It's like, oh, that hurt is still there. The enemy knows it, so he tries to play on it. But if I have my prayer bubble built up, I don't fall as deep as I used to. Like, I recognize what it is a little bit faster, and then I'm able to say, shake that off. We got work to do, you know?
Yeah, I feel like we're just like when we immerse ourselves into it and we're with the church and with the people in recovery or like-minded people like you and me. And I feel like when you're surrounded by it, it's just like you got your wall, your fortress that helps keep you strong and powerful so you can keep serving. And I love that. And I want to be part of that.
Yes. I just feel like, just personally, you know, it's yes or no. Like, we have the choice. And I heard somebody say a few weeks ago, this was so good. A lot of times we say, I don't have time to. Like, I don't have time to blank. Okay? Replace that with, I don't want to. And then see how it sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more
and so I was
different.
Like, so then if it's like, I don't have time for church versus I don't want church. Whoa.
I know.
It's a little different, right?
Yeah, but it's still the same thing.
It's a hard truth though. Like,
it is.
We make time for the things that are important to us. And I'm not saying like things don't come up sometimes and we say, okay, I'm going to go, you know, partake in a wedding today instead of going to a small group, or, you know, like, yes, have space and room for that. But Pastor Brendan always says, like, if you want to question how your life is aligned with your walk, check your calendar and your checkbook. Are you giving? Are you serving? What does your calendar look like? What is trumping your calendar? And I mean, that's a hard truth too, like, to look at. And so if, you know, it's a good time, like, if anybody wants to stop and just examine that area of your life, I challenge you to. If it's something that you're like, I'm struggling, my mind, I'm negative, you know, like in the hamster wheel, I can't get better. Like, things are just the insanity. How do I get off of here? Where do I go from here? My question would be, are you truly giving God your all, and are you giving him your best? Because he wants all of us, and he wants the best of us.
Yeah. And
he will give us his best when we give him our best.
And deep down, you truly know when you're giving yourself your best, right?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, though, could we ever really give our best? Like,
but we know when we're slacking, right?
Yes. I mean, and people know at this point in my life, it's really hard when you start putting God first, in a sense that you might get some pushback because people take it like, oh, church is more important than me. You know, like, serving is more important than me. Your small group is more important than me. I mean, I'm talking like family. And I'm not saying that I've had that, but it can and does happen.
I can see that happening.
And so when you're not as easily available to people because you have these things on your calendar, you have to be ready for that pushback too. But once they feel and see how important it is, and then they start seeing, wow, there's something different about, you know, Kat, or there's something different about Amy, and it's a good different. Yeah. Then guess what? What are you doing, woman? You know, like, maybe I need to start doing some of this because I want some of that.
Yeah.
So that's
happened a lot here lately.
Yeah. It's challenging in the beginning, I feel like. And also, I feel like that's why we have so many Sunday Christians.
It is very challenging in the beginning because you feel like you're letting your friends down, especially if you're a people pleaser. Mm-hmm. That is a really tough one for you. Mm-hmm. You know, no, I don't think I want to go out tonight. I think I want to stay home and have a quiet night. You kind of feel bad, but then you get in it and you feel good. Yeah, that's And
another thing, like, within the spiritual warfare stuff, so we are currently learning the practice of fasting at church. Yeah. And we've been walking through, I think we're fixing to start like on our 4th week of fasting. And so I've incorporated fasting into my weekly calendar. And I don't go around telling everybody that I'm fasting. It's just something that I'm doing. But we're also doing that in a community. Like every Friday is a community-wide fasting that I'm doing with some friends of ours. And so, you know, when you come together with other people in prayer and expecting life change and for God to show up, for one, I think that heart attitude in our heart, come expecting and have faith and believing, that alone is just a huge power that I've tapped into recently, like within the past 2 years. And when you do things together, it helps keep you accountable. And it's really great to have other people walk into, like you just said, take that step into something that they've never really done before. Just this week, we had one of the girls who she's been trying to fast, but she's like, I just didn't, you know, and I could tell she was so frustrated. But Wednesday, she actually finished her fast for the first time. She's like, I did it. And so we were able to celebrate that with her. And, you know, and I fasted for her on Wednesday, and she was fasting, and we were fasting for her to get a job. And so today was the day that we were going to like share our prayers in our chat with each other. And she got the job already Wednesday.
Oh, that's incredible.
So I said, hey, throw me another prayer request because God already answered that one on Wednesday.
That's incredible.
So, yeah, so it's just really amazing. We are in a spiritual warfare, though. You can agree to disagree if you're listening. But I'm just telling you, like, there is so much power in the Bible and in the words that Jesus has for us. And if you just start slowly into taking those steps towards Him, I know that He meets us where we are, and He will reveal Himself to you. He's not a genie. He's not about like making sure you have a new car and a new house. And I also had to check my motives and my heart with that. And I think the next episode we might talk about money and things like that too. But you know, just to seek peace for me has been the most important thing. And that's why now I'm like trying to build up that bubble real thick because I want to keep that peace. And honestly, I'm chasing peace more than anything. Like you could offer me a boat, and if it were to cost me my peace, I'm going to take the peace all day. Absolutely. That boat's going to rust and it's going to cost me a lot. But my peace it's the best gift I've ever received. So
I know. It's such a different world. Like we really live two different worlds here on earth. I mean, you've got the people, you know, the visual, you know, giving in to your desires and stuff. And then you've got your feeling world, the one that fills you up with love and giving and caring and just being present and at peace. And it's very achievable. And I know that people that are like in the rough of it, full of anxiety and depression, I know that seems very out of reach because I was there. Trust me. I mean, everybody who feels the way you do and have made it out knows. So just understand that peace can be for you. You can have it. You just got to seek it, and you've got to surrender, and you've got to let go. Because once you take yourself out of it, it's just, I mean, it changes. It changes. You have to have different perspective too, you know? And, for me, I had to look and view things differently. Like, we're here on this earth and we're having this experience, this human experience here. And it was meant to be shared. And I feel like it was meant for love and loving one another and not being crazy and thinking about, oh, I have a better ride than my neighbor, you know, a better car, better job, reaching the top of the ladder, whatever. Because I've been hearing a lot of interviews about from older people that are talking about, what's important in life, what your younger self, what would you tell your younger self, that you knew now that you didn't know then? And then mostly all of them always say chasing that career and money is not worth it. It's not that. It's about building relationships, connections, and loving on people. And I'm going to take that advice.
Yeah. I spoke to a young mother today at the gym, and she's got some young girls that are like 10 and 11. And she was telling me, I asked how the girls were, and she was telling me about their boyfriend drama. And I was like, oh no, they're too young for boyfriends. And I said, but this is, when my kids were young, like, in kindergarten, it was so cute that they had boyfriends and things like that. So I said, I know a lot more now than I did then. And you, as a mother to young children, if I could give you any piece of advice, would you like to hear it? And she said, yes. And I said, you tell your girls that they need to be chasing a relationship with Jesus first and foremost. And then when the time comes that they're interested in men or a man, that they need to also find a man who also is chasing after Jesus. Because if you can do that, then you're going to already stop those generational curses that we just keep repeating, because then what happens is like, I've had my kids and then they've had their kids, and it's better, but it's still repeat, and so now we're trying to stop those things, continually. Luckily, my children are trying to stop those things too, and so, we can hopefully prevent those things as well. But yeah, it was just really, we have to look for opportunities to give people advice and help them along their way to follow. So if you're convinced yourself you're going to have a good day and you choose to have a good day, guess what? You're going to have a good day.
That's right. It's what you choose, because the bad stuff is always going to be there. But if you choose to have the good day and you speak positive affirmations to yourself and positive words, you can change your mindset. It's a daily practice, but it is achievable and it does happen. And then you can deal with your problems with a more lighter attitude, right?
Lighter. And we can't control or change other people, but we do have the power to change and control ourselves. And that includes our mind and our thoughts.
That's right.
And it's pretty awesome if we think about it. So no more stinking thinking.
Stinky butthole thing.
Yeah.
So, that's a
stinky butthole opinion. But I guess we can have stinky butthole thinking too. So no more stinky butthole thinking. But yeah, if you're like, wake up and you're like, oh, my day's terrible. My head hurts. I'm tired.
And I got no motivation.
So how do you flip that? You flip your thoughts by saying, you know what? My head might hurt, but thank you, Jesus, for breath in my lungs today.
Yeah.
Thank you for this roof over my head. Thank you for my job. I don't feel like going, but I'm thankful that I have a job to go to.
Yeah.
So just start thinking of all the things you have to be thankful for. And I promise there's always more to be thankful for than to complain about.
And let me just add to that, because the gratitude list, the first time I ever went to AA, they told me to write a gratitude list. And I'm like, okay, what in the world is this going to do? I'm thankful, and I'm like, what am I thankful for? So every morning I would get up and I'm like, five things that I'm thankful for. This is such a stupid exercise. This is exactly what I thought. But I said, I'm going to do it anyway, so I get up every morning. I'm like, what am I thankful for? Thankful for this cup of coffee. And it would just start like that. Like it would be like, I am thankful for slow mornings. I am thankful for the job that I have. I am thankful for, and then it started turning into, I'm thankful that I'm here another day. I am thankful that, I'm reconnecting with my children. I am thankful that my eyes are open. So it changes. And then I started seeing what happened when I was doing that is that I was just very grateful and happy for everything instead of the negative things. I was like, so grateful.
Did you know that we can be happy cleaning a toilet?
Yes.
I mean, well, you seriously can. And also, I have started thanking the people who are cleaning, the janitors, like at Walmart. And I stopped a few weeks ago and I told that man, I said, you are doing the best job. And thank you for being so friendly and doing your job so well. And he said, that is so nice of you. He said, no one has ever told me that.
Oh, and I see people to.
And I said, somebody has to do it, and thank you for doing it. You're keeping the store clean for us. I was like, there's sickness going around, but because of you, maybe I won't be sick today for being in here, you know? And it just made, he said, I'm going to smile all day, and it just made his day.
Oh my God.
And so sometimes people don't necessarily love their jobs, and we sometimes make it worse, and we're guilty for often looking down on people. But, you know, they're no better than us. They're no worse than us. God loves them just the same as us. And so we need to stop looking at other people and trying to measure where they land. They land under love. God loves them just as much as he loves us.
Love is the answer.
It is, because God is love.
Yes.
And love is an action, and we need to put it into action, and we need to take it with us everywhere we go, and we need to share it with everyone we know, and even with people we don't know.
All right. You heard that from her. So listeners, here's my challenge for you guys. If you see someone working and that's doing a job that you wouldn't want to do, just take a second and just thank them. Share some gratitude and let them know, not just a thank you, but just let them know, like, we really appreciate you for, you know, whatever it is they may be, their services. And I bet you, even if it's like 9 people out of 10, you're going to touch them. Even if they don't smile and they might curse you off, inside they're smiling. You just planted a seed.
Yeah, open the door for someone. And then also share with us your experience.
Yes, we would love to hear that.
Yes. And if you guys are enjoying our shows too, like, please give us thumbs up. Let us know. We want to hear from you guys. And we're planning on not going anywhere, so we're going to keep doing this because if nothing else, it's therapy for us over here on Walk on the Wild Side.
She meant talk on.
I meant talk. We talk. Yes, I did. I meant talk on the wild side.
She walks on the wild side on the treadmill. She's got her catwalk down.
I do. I'm sorry. One day, my brain, it just doesn't function the way that I think it should, but that's okay. God has made me this way for his own reasons. So, yeah.
But, so is there any other tools that we haven't talked about that might...
Oh, there's all kinds of tools.
I know. We could probably...
The biggest tools, I feel like today's takeaway was build your bubble. Yeah, like that. Build your bubble with community. With prayer. I love that you shared there is power in prayer. And if you can tap into that resource, oh my goodness, it is hard. Especially for me, I compare myself to Moses a lot because Moses was someone like you wouldn't even expect. He grew up. His mother loved him so much to avoid him getting killed because they were throwing the babies. That was when all the babies were being sentenced to death. And I found this story through my meditation at night, and it just opened my eyes to Moses in a way I didn't really see him before. And then was it the Pharaoh's daughter who rescued him out? Rescued Moses, kept him for her own, and he grew up in a rich, wealthy area. But he came from dirt. Like his people were the people who were so he grew up, and then when he found out what they stood for, he didn't want any part of it, and he was willing to give up all of the riches to go back into a struggle type situation. But
comfortable there. It's easy.
But he knew that it didn't align. It didn't align with him, and he felt gross. And I feel like I can relate to that. What they say, a sheep in wolf's clothing. Sometimes we go through life and we're in situations to where we're like, this is not where I fit. This is not where I belong. And so, sometimes it's not about the things,
It's definitely not about the things.
Yeah. So, But Moses ended up being used by God. And so I just feel like if God can use Moses, he can use me. It's really cool when you start learning the Bible and then you see these stories and you start relating to people and characters in the Bible and you see it from a different perspective. It's really neat too, because I've never really understood the Bible. I'm just now probably in the past 3 to 5 years getting to where I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like listening to things and by any means don't know a lot, but it's making sense to me. And so the more I'm able to put pieces together in this puzzle, it's like, oh, I'm starting to kind of see the bigger picture as the pieces fall into place. And so it's just beautiful. Like even if I'm just seeing like a corner here and, a corner there, I just love that. So yeah, prayer is huge.
Well, with, you're talking about Moses coming from the wrong side of the tracks, basically is what we're talking about, right? And being brought up in the riches and not really feeling comfortable with that lifestyle and really connecting with his people. You come encounter, since you've grown so much in your steps with Jesus, that you're changed and you're transformed. You're no longer this person that used to be that come from this. But what I found is that even though I relate with that because I come from that and I'm here now, those people have a hard time trusting me now. They look at me differently. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you connect with them?
So your focus has to be connecting with God.
Yes.
And if you're following him, they're going to see things in you. They're going to see your life change. And all you can do is like pray that they want what you want, that you can be the hands and feet and that your light shines to help lead them closer to Jesus. And when we put him first, they might not follow you, but it's your place to follow Jesus. And so we have to put him first.
I mean, it's hard to bare your soul to someone, that's hurting like that, to be able to prove that you come from it's hard.
Yeah, but you don't have anything to prove.
Yeah, that's true. That's me.
So we have to
get myself.
Yeah, so we have to. And for me, when I was walking out of letting all of the stress and all of these anxieties and all of these lies in my head go, I had to have a visual, like for me, like a go-to. Like I asked you yesterday, if you had a verse, like, find you a Bible verse. That way you are able to go into prayer about it and that you're also able to back it up with the word.
Is that a Bible verse?
What does it say?
The Lord's Prayer.
What does it say?
It says, "Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy."
Yes, that is.
No, I say that nightly.
Yes, that is.
Okay, that's the one I've learned when I was 5 years old.
Oh, okay. Does it have a Bible verse on it?
I don't know. It's just the prayer. It's the Lord's Prayer.
Oh, okay. We'll have to look that one up.
The only reason is when I was a young child, somehow, some way, at the age of 5, I learned to say the Lord's Prayer, and I said it every night before bed. My mom didn't teach it to me. Nobody. And then I think we used to say it in school in kindergarten, and I think that's where, and it stuck with me, and I knew it word for word. And that I said every night. I didn't even know what I was preaching or praying, and but it stuck with me all through grade school, all through high school, and then it was like now I have the plaque here in my bedroom, and we say it in AA, or not AA, Celebrate Recovery all the time. Oh, they do say it in AA too, but that prayer is very special to me.
So Matthew 6:9-13, that's where you find that. It says, "In this manner, therefore pray, Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread." And I think that's also where we say just for today, because give us bread on this day. And then forgive us of our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. That would be another tool in your tool belt to unpack forgiveness.
Oh, yeah.
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 Yes.
You got to let go of that stuff.
We're going to have to do a whole episode on forgiveness because that's just, that's deep. But forgiveness frees you and it's for you. It's not for the other person.
That's correct. That's correct.
And do not lead us into temptation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, that's with all things, that's the enemy trying to tempt us. Because even Jesus was tempted, right? When he was fasting. So, and do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one, because that was the evil one who tried to tempt Jesus when he was fasting. For yours is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
That's fun.
Amen. Okay, so that can be your life verse. So whenever all of the worry and the stress would come into my mind, I would have this visual and I would say, God, you before me. And so I want the Lord to lead me, right? And in order for me to do that, I had to have this visual of God in front of me and take the focus off of me and put my focus on him. So I would always say, you before me. Yeah. And I still have to say that, like, you before me and your will be done, not my will. So,
it's hard taking yourself. It's tricky.
It is.
Like, I'm at the beginning stages of yes, but I'm just like, thank you for the daily reminder.
Yes.
Because I come up, Amy, and I'm like, Amy, I need help. And you're like, you need to remove yourself from this.
I know. I'm starting to feel like a counselor. Someone else.
But she's helping me. She's helping me because I have no idea, and it's tricky. And then I'm like, me, and I'm like, okay, this is starting to sound ridiculous.
Someone called me today and said, we're fasting, and someone invited me to lunch or breakfast or something. What do I do? Do I tell her no? I'm like, well, can you not go and sip on some coffee or some tea? And I was like, are you not feeling strong enough to do that? You just, do that.
Well, sometimes people just... and me included, it's like you have these blinders on. It's like, oh, I can't do that because I'm not doing that no more. But that's not true.
Well, I'm like, and that, if you tell them, you don't have to tell them I'm fasting, because we do these things to get our reward in heaven. If I tell you about it and I'm looking for a pat on my back, well, the Bible says that that's the only reward I'm going to get.
Okay.
So do I want the reward of others or do I want the reward of God?
Yes.
I think I'll do it in secret and let God give me his.
I like the secret ones. Yeah. We just do everything in secret.
I mean, unless you want to get your reward now. It's up to you. You can decide. Do you want to post something on...
That's tricky too.
Do you want to post something on social media because you want to look at me and look what I did and get that photos now?
That's old cat.
And okay, so, but this is another tool that we have to take out of our bag.
I felt like now I took, like when I said about the prayer to my friend, I just wanted to let you know that you influenced me.
No, we have to do that. And that's good. And that wasn't to
I'm just showing you that your baby's growing.
Yes. That wasn't to shine a light on you.
Okay.
That was to shine a light on God.
I did not want to sound that way.
No.
Now I'm thinking about
people need to know we're praying for them.
Okay.
And I do that. I stop. I'm intentional. If someone messages me and they're like, can you pray for me? Instead of me saying yes, I will stop. Even if I'm riding down the road, I'll get my voice to text and I will text a prayer right then for them. Because if I say I'll do it and then I don't do it, then I've told a lie.
Yeah.
And so the last thing I want is to tell people I'm going to pray for them so that I look good or that I sound good.
Yeah.
I was doing that and I realized, like, we're just on here saying, I'll pray for you. I'll pray for you.
Yeah.
But are we really stopping and praying for people? And I did not want to be that anymore. It made me feel yucky.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm going to be a person behind action.
Yes.
Well, this is an action. I love you enough to pray for you. I'm going to pray for you. So otherwise I'm not going to say it. Right? Don't say it if you don't mean it.
That's right.
So you don't have to tell somebody something. If you don't mean it, don't say it. So if you want to be a person of truth and a person of honor and, of good ethic, then go ahead and put it out there. So, so I feel like we talked about several, good tools that are in our tool belts to unpack. And honestly, all of them, point straight up to God, in my opinion. So,
and I think that we'll probably retouch this subject again, just to keep a refresher and just share new techniques and new outlets that are healthy, as we continue on this journey.
well, our walk is only going to continue to go deeper.
I am so excited for this, but it's scared at the same time. I feel love and fear at the same time, but no fear, no fear. I know that because right now I feel so happy and I feel loved. The love tank thing, that's a real thing. That's being filled up all the time. And I'm so I can only imagine how much more beautiful it's going to get.
I think in the Bible, that's when they refer to it as my cup. Fill my cup.
Okay.
And they say an empty cup, you can't pour from an empty cup.
I was thinking solo cup.
Well,
that's the vision, I guess.
Back in the day, it was probably
beautiful. Oh, and jewel.
Yeah, and it was probably heavy.
Oh,
it was probably this really nice.
Yeah. Or maybe it was just a ceramic stone mug.
It could have been a clay. It could have been, I don't know. It could have been a lot. I guess depending on who you were or where you live.
Well, if that cup is full, it is worth it.
But it doesn't matter if your cup is tiny or if it's huge. If it's full, and it's overflowing, no matter the size. But if it's empty and it contains nothing, no matter the size, right?
Yes.
So I was saying earlier, this wall that I had built of all of these things, think of it as a cup, and every ice cube is something that I put in my cup, right? Mm-hmm. And I put in my worry, my stress, my disbelief, my fears, my anxieties in this cup, and that's all it can hold.
Yes.
Where's the room for Jesus at in my cup?
Yes. Trust me, if you get rid of all the fear and depression and all that silliness out of the way, out of your cup, because you can do it, they're still going to be there. But just fill it up with the stuff that means stuff, and it'll make your life a lot easier.
So Jesus is like a water that flows. He is a refreshener. It says he can be cool and refreshing to us, or he can be hot and fire us up. So if we have ice in our cup, that's okay. We don't have to get rid of all the ice right away. But if we get on fire for Jesus, that ice will melt a lot faster, right?
Yes.
And so as we pour into other people, my cup starts to get empty, right? Unless I'm pouring back into my cup from my word, from my meditation, from all of those things.
Yeah.
So if I'm not, as I'm pouring out, I also have to be receiving. And it's a constant refreshing of water. It's a flow. It flows from the Lord into me, into you. And then, then you have that circle flowing into your life.
I feel it's so connected on a deeper level that it's so liberating. It just feels just I feel my insides and my heart is just alive, and it's just, I'm going to just talk about this. Maybe I'm on the pink cloud or the pink elephant. I don't know what they say, but man, I want this job.
I just think that you're drinking from the well.
I'm drinking from the well.
Yes.
I'm just so happy, and I love everybody.
And once you tap in, you learn to tap into it, you're going to find it never goes dry.
Oh, it doesn't?
It never goes dry.
Because I don't want to lose it. Mm-hmm. Because all I ever wanted to do was just love people. I just didn't know how to do it.
Well, here's a lot of the problem. We could really, I know we have to go, but the problem is so many of us are sitting down on our couch with an empty cup waiting for someone else to come and fill it.
Oh yeah, no one's coming to rescue you. As soon as you figure that
get off the couch.
Yes, as soon as you realize that you are responsible for your own life and your service and everything, that's when you'll start to take
action. Yeah. So get to step in. You got to put on your tool belt, people. You got to go collect the tools. And guess what? Everything comes at a price.
Oh, yeah.
So yes.
Be prepared to lay down. And if that's what they say, be prepared to lay down the old.
But God came back in the form of Jesus, and he paid the ultimate price. So there's nothing that we can't do.
That's right. And you just got to put your faith in it. Fully. Just fall in love with it.
I'm just going to plug this in really quick as we jump off of here. If there is a way that we can pray for you today, if you'll just let us know in the comments. This might be, we might not get it until sometime later. This is a pre-recording, but we will get it and we will pray for you. At any point, feel free to comment in this spot or in any area that we release any of our shows. We want to pray for you guys. We are doing this podcast to inspire other people to want to get healed and to want to, if you want to chase after Jesus, all the better. So let us know if there's any way that we can pray for you, because we are here to serve you guys.
Absolutely. We do our best to try to help you and just share our tips and our tricks and using our tools and our tool belt.
We were definitely very spiritual today.
Yes. So, as we close out, I just want to ask Amy the question. I set her up with a challenge, and I want to know if she followed through the week and if she gave herself a high five in the mirror. And if so, how did it make you feel?
Yes, and I was going to touch on this earlier when you were talking about your words of affirmation. So I'm actually going to get a piece of construction paper, and I'm going to cut my hand out. I haven't done that yet, but I did share with Kat. I only did it once. I'm not going to lie. Okay. I only did it once.
You did it once.
But I did it once. And for me, it's because I forget. So that's why I'm going to put a colored handprint on my mirror, because otherwise it's invisible and I don't see it.
Okay.
And so I need that. I need to see it, insight in mind. And, but I did feel very empowered when I did it. And I spoke to myself like, I have just, when I did it, I said, I'm going to look at myself through the eyes that I feel God sees me through. And so I saw myself in a very positive way that day. And I thought I was going to leave like a smudgy handprint on there, and I was hoping that it would stick, but it didn't. So I was like, but you know what? That was a reminder. That's how we are in life. Like we touch.
Yeah.
We touch people, and we can't always see it. But it's
You're very sentimental.
So
I love that.
Yes.
I love how you pick up on little things like that. That is like so inspiring to me. Well, I'm glad that you did it. You tried it once and you did it, and it was empowering.
I am going to do it.
There's someone really close to me in my life. I'm not going to say who.
Okay.
But she started doing that too. And I said to her last night, I said, are you looking at yourself in the eyeballs when you do it? And because that's important.
Yeah, it is.
I did. I
looked at myself.
Don't just put your hand up there. Really look at yourself. Take a look at yourself. Look at your beautiful eyes and look into your soul. You could actually connect with yourself there. It's going to be uncomfortable at first, but just try it. It can't hurt you. Nobody can see you do it.
It's as they say, intimacy is into me see.
See?
And so have that intimate moment with yourself.
You need that. And when you connect with yourself like that, you see yourself the way God sees you. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, you're going to love what you see in the mirror.
Or maybe pick up and change the things that you need to change too. I mean, there's always room for improvement too. Well, did she say she had a good experience with it?
Yes.
Good.
I cannot believe it. I was just like, that just inspired me to.
Look at you inspiring us. See?
Well, I don't know, but
we're not downplaying
it. Okay. Yes.
So, I'm going to give you a challenge.
Oh, a challenge.
Yes. And you're already tapping into it, but we're going to tap straight into the well, right? I want you to start doing your prayer daily journaling.
All right. I'm going to go get my journal tonight.
Yes, I've started doing a prayer daily journal, and it's just, I focus on one person, one need, one prayer every day.
Perfect.
And then at the end of the year, we're going to go through. And if you want to, Kat, you can even starting from January and do a prayer up to January so that you have one for all 365 days through the year.
Okay.
And you can just do like 2 at a time if you want to, like start January 1 and then today, and then go back and do January 2. And then, if you want. And that way we're going to go back at the end of the year and we're going to be able to put them in piles, like the ones that he's answered. And we're going to go through all of those prayers either at the last of the year or the very first.
Oh my gosh.
And we're going to actually start putting of what God has. I mean, Sarah got a job already last day.
Yes. I'm going to tell you right now, you want to tune in for that episode.
Yes.
Because that's going to be very powerful, and it's just going to show you how your prayer.
That's what we can do. We can do like the first whatever day of New Year's. We can bring our prayers here and we can share them with them. So you guys can get on this with us if you want to. You're going to do a 365 daily prayer. And then at the first of the next year, we can all unpack our prayers and just look and see what God has done.
That's amazing.
And have faith today of what he's going to do.
That is so incredible. Doesn't that just make you so excited?
I hope so. I know it excites me.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining in with us. We look forward to hearing your feedback and comments. We love you. We have nothing but love for you. Just remember that you are loved. And in case no one has told you today, I love you.
I love you too. And I love you, Kat.
I love you, Amy.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
As we leave you today, we encourage you to love the things love more and hate the things you hate less. Please share this episode and help us reach others. Leave us a comment, ask questions, and do the finger tango and tap that follow tab so you never miss an episode. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time here on A Talk on the Wild Side.